one of the interesting things about the characters in this particularly is that Morris is very far from being a victim. Traditionally, when you've seen Jewish people in films about this period, they're kind of they're long-suffering or they're martyrs. Morris is an animal. He likes to eat, likes to sleep with young women, he likes to, he opines, he swears all the time. He's very much the dominant friend in this pair. Hulda wishes he was Morris. He wishes he had the adventures and the braggadocio that Morris has. And then, of course, the power relationship is switched because Hulda becomes one of the great and the good, and Morris gradually becomes, like everybody else in Germany, particularly after the Nuremberg laws, less than a full human being. John Hulda's a literature professor, and he served in the First World War with me, with Morris, and they became, like people do, you bond in the trenches. They became very close, and when our story starts, they're best friends, and John runs away from his marriage a lot to me, and we are incredibly open and intimate with each other, the way long-term friends are. And our friendship is challenged, to put it mildly, by the fact that the Nazis have come to power, and that you don't really get on in society if you don't join the party, and that Jews are gradually marginalised and gradually have all their civil liberties stripped away. I'm a war veteran, so I have certain dispensations that allow me to feel like I'm separate from the rest of the Jewish community for a while. But eventually our friendship obviously is put to the test. One of the rewarding things for me as an actor is that I'm not playing an archetype. I'm not representing all the Jews that were persecuted or that died. I'm just playing this one guy. He's pretty irascible. He's almost anti-Semitic, and he's pretty unapologetic. And that's one of the great things about the writing, and that goes throughout the story. That these aren't archetypes, and the thing isn't a metaphor. It's a story about real people in the kind of real situation we find ourselves in. The play's about a good man. It's about a man you instantly like, whose struggle is internal. There he is, you meet Viggo, he's a complicated guy, he's an interesting, makes music, he paints, he photographs, he writes, he has a publishing company, he's political, he's incredibly egalitarian. He got here and downsized his trailer and all the things that he was meant to have. He said, I want the same as the other actors. So you just like him. In some ways you get more of a perspective on modern life by seeing it through the prism of history. So I always thought it was an incredibly powerful and contemporary story, and that we can see ourselves, in every slight moral compromise, every time we look the other way. We recognise that in Hulda, the lead character. From within the first frame, just thought, that's all right, here he is, he's turned up, John Hulda's here. Essentially brought this fresh energy. He's Brazilian, but he's actually fluent in all kinds of languages and all kinds of cultures because he's lived everywhere. He's fantastically visual, he's got a great aesthetic, he has hundreds of hours of commercials under his belt, but he's really only about the story. Well, the thing about Germany in the 30s was it was an incredibly vibrant place. And we're all used to watching kind of archive footage. This was a place that was coming to life. Parks got cleaned up, streets got cleaned up. Kids had youth clubs to go to all the time, and festivals to attend, and sports to do. And it was a really, to use a very overly modern word, it was a very buzzy place. And incredibly attractive and seductive for everybody involved in it. There's a convention in this film. Obviously, they're all German and we're all speaking English. And the other thing that's happening is that we're speaking without ever being anachronistic, in ways that are accessible. You know, I mean, we're not speaking in translated German. It's not Teutonic and it's not formal and clipped and stuff. We're speaking in ways that make you feel like these are people talking to each other, who are married to each other or are friends with each other, and hopefully you're never snapped out of the time period. But nor should you ever be able to think, oh, that was then. I'm looking at a film about 70 years ago. Because you're not. We're telling a story about today. To have the Jewish character be so unapologetic, such a kind of carnal animal, is it kind of snaps you out of thinking you know which box everyone belongs to. It's challenging, it's provocative, and it makes you think about, like all good stories do, how you treat other people and whether you've done the right thing today. Like we all think when we lie down at night, you know, was I a good person today? And it's very hard. It's very hard to be the kind of person that you want to be in today's world. And we need all the help we can get. This film has a what's going to happen, how's that going to resolve itself element that happened all the way through. You know, it has a ticking bomb all the way through, and it has. You want to know how these romances and thrill elements will resolve themselves. But just every now and again, a story comes up that I'm lucky enough to be involved with that works on a higher level as well. And the higher level is something that stays with you after the credits have rolled and can help you and affect you in your everyday life, your dealings with the people that you work with or the people you love. And that's the highest aspiration you can have as a storyteller.